travel.
You've heard the phrase, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, does it make it sound? You've heard that concept. So
of course it makes a sound.
Of course. But how do you know? You didn't hear it. If a flight gets delayed or canceled at SeaTac, could you tell it's because of a government shutdown, or is it just because it's SeaTac Airport? I will say, in fairness to SeaTac, one of the worst airports in the country, I've not really had many experiences of canceled flights there. Delays every so often. My gripe is often not with any kind of delay or cancellation. I've been lucky, knock on wood. I've got a flight coming up in 3 weeks. The government shutdown better be over by then. Oh, there's an election tomorrow, so the government shutdown will be over by then. But in the interim, they're obviously struggling because TSA workers are not getting paid, or excuse me, air traffic controllers specifically are not getting paid, to the point where perhaps they're taking some time off, a position I totally understand and would probably do exactly the same thing, not taking advantage of it, but I might want an extra day or two off during a time in which I'm doing a high-stress job in which I'm not currently getting paid. And I think all of us can probably understand where folks are coming from.
I hope not much longer for the travelers and also for the people. You know, if you're not getting paid and you're still coming to work.
Now, that said, I care more about my flight than I do about the air traffic controllers, just so we're all on the same page. I don't want people to think I have too much of a heart.
Duncan works for free. What's the big deal?
Duncan is 11 years old, and we're all eventually going to go to jail for hiring him. So maybe we ought not to bring that up just quite yet. Harmeet Dillon's on the show tomorrow. Should we really be bringing up the fact that we've illegally employed a potential orphan 11-year-old? I don't even know where he goes home after the show, honestly. Have you seen his mother lately?
I
haven't.
Those kind of questions.
Right. I haven't seen his mom in 3.5 months. I'm just not asking any questions because he gets me a good cup of coffee. He knows I like Danger coffee. He brews it himself. So there are some folks who are dealing with delays at SeaTac. David and Carolyn from Bainbridge say to Como TV that they got some delays coming home from Phoenix.
So we probably had about 5 or 6 different departure times during the day.
So the flight that should have departed at 4:30 local departed at closer to 5.
Now, in fairness, were they flying United or American?
I didn't say.
Don't know. I don't know why we are just blaming the air traffic controllers. But as of Friday, the Air Traffic Control System Command Center reports 39 different facilities, both small and large, are having quote-unquote staffing triggers. And that's a report that grew from just 9 on Thursday afternoon. Now, at that point, SeaTac was not listed. This morning, I saw on Fox News, they were covering the different delays that were potential. And SeaTac is, in fact, on that list. At the end, most of us will come to terms with this and not generally get upset with the airport, at least. And I'm guessing that most of us, in the context of the air traffic controller staffing issue being the problem, we're not going to get too upset and demand just, I don't care how, just get us up in the air. We're probably willing to put up with a little bit of pain here because, as Carolyn pointed out to Como, like, we just want to be safe.
I just have to have faith that they will cancel flights if they feel as though they don't have enough air traffic controllers.
I want a little bit more than just having faith. I want to know for certain. I don't want to hope that the FAA does the right thing. I want to know for certain.
I think they probably will. Maybe not, though.
He's like, well, I got to hope that they'll do the right thing. I mean, the good news, it's the Trump administration and Sean Duffy. I actually trust Sean Duffy. But on this one, I don't want faith. I want to know for certain if you hit X amount of staffers who are out, you're going to just start canceling flights. I don't need to know the number. I just need to know that y'all know the number at the FAA. And Sean Duffy says, hey, look, we're going to do what we can. We're obviously going to keep Americans safe, travelers safe, but let's all be clear about why this is happening. It's the Democrats who have made the choice to keep the government shut down.
Well, what is leverage? Their leverage is to hurt the American people, right? They're willing to hurt air travelers, whether they're going to a funeral, they're going to see family members. Pretty soon we're going to have kids coming home from college for Thanksgiving break. They're willing to endanger poor people who can't get food stamps. They're willing to risk subsidies in regard to health insurance. They don't care who they hurt. They care about power.
They do care about power. Now, I heard the latest claim or theory that the government shutdown will end after tomorrow. Tomorrow happens to not just be the election, but it would be the longest shutdown in history. And that would be the trigger to reopen things. Kayleigh McEnany this morning, former White House spokesperson, made a really good point. Like, yeah, I've heard that too, but didn't we hear that about the No Kings rally? They were just waiting until the end of the No Kings rally and then they would reopen, and that didn't happen. So I don't know what to think. They're not getting any wins here, right? Politically speaking, I'm sure they think they are, but they're certainly in the negotiations of Obamacare subsidies, they didn't get anything. Unless something's happening behind the scenes. Now, John Thune was out today. If you don't remember, he's the majority leader, the forgotten Senate majority leader. He seems to be thinking we're on the path of reopening. He said he's optimistic that the shutdown ends this week. Why? If they don't get anything, how do they spin this on the left?
Well, to your point, they would have the talking point of like, this was the longest shutdown in American history.
And we came to the table. We realized the Republicans weren't going to listen. They weren't coming to the table. And we can't put the American people through this. That's what those evil Republicans do.
So we need you next November, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, and the thing is, they'll get, and I've said this from the beginning, they're going to get some concessions on Obamacare subsidies from the Republicans. That was always going to be the case. They're going to get something once they return to the table after reopening the government, and then they'll say the only reason they got any of this is because they closed the government. Or, because they forced the Republicans to close the government, and then they use that as an opportunity to negotiate on the behalf of the American people, blah, blah, blah. Here's Senator Andy Kim, the Democrat no one realizes is from New Jersey.
Right now, what they see with this Trump administration, look, we've been having problems and delays at Newark Airport all year. We've seen this administration continuing to cut staffing at the FAA over and over and over again. These types of things that are compiling, and we're seeing right now this administration, again, standing in the way of us being able to find bipartisan solutions to this. No. I support a Republican Senator Hawley's legislation that would fund SNAP, that would also have legislation that would put forward that would help us pay our FAA air traffic controllers and other public servants. But the problem is that the House of Representatives is not in session. They are refusing to negotiate with us and get these pieces of legislation moved forward so we can pay our public servants and keep ourselves safe.
That's so bad faith. First of all, he said Senator Hawley. Remind me, who's that dude?
Republican senator from Missouri.
So wait, it's a Republican who's introducing a bill to fund SNAP and others, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Democrats aren't voting for that at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're claiming in that truly remarkably and aggressively bad faith comment, well, the House isn't in session. Did y'all vote on this piece of legislation yet? I believe the answer is no. So what do they need to be in session for right now? The government is shut down and you haven't forwarded any legislation to them. Now, I grant you that, a flight might be delayed, but they can just say, hey, y'all, tomorrow we're getting back together. Come on back from your districts. The Republicans on the House. And he says that as if Democrats in the House are all in D.C., which they're not. Pramila Jayapal is still on vacation. First she came back home to Seattle, then she went to Chicago, then she came back to Seattle again. She was in Seattle at least yesterday. So this whole idea that, the House just isn't, we don't have anything to do. You can do that right now. You can pass this piece of legislation right this moment. They are choosing not to. But at least they're acknowledging that it's Republicans who are trying to fund SNAP, and it's not the Democrats.